Hello and welcome to Common Royalty. It's our show about everyday people doing extraordinary things. Thanks for tuning in to our second episode ever. And seated next to me, Ms. Michigan State America, Jessica Mason Freilich. She's obviously the royalty.
And to my left is my wonderful husband, Bill Freilich, who is obviously the commoner.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out every time.
That's my job.
I know.
And joining us today in the studio is Abby, the creator of Spark in the Dark. Abby, would you like to tell us exactly what Spark in the Dark is?
Well, Spark in the Dark is kind of a two-part organization, if you will. It started as a Facebook group to connect individuals in need with people who can and want to help, along with organizations that can help. I started it back in October now. 50 people. Now there's well over 1,300 people on the page helping each other every day with big things to small. And then I teach classes every week where I teach individuals a new life skill, and then in turn we donate what we have made to a local nonprofit or a group in need.
Excellent.
That's an awesome story. So how did the idea for Spark in the Dark just first come to you? Was it a spark?
Sort of. We were all sitting at church group one night actually, and the women around the table were discussing how hard it is to help. We're all so constrained with time and being everywhere and doing everything, especially as single moms and parents. Life gets a little crazy these days. So we were all discussing how we really wanted to help and we didn't have the time. That kind of manifested into, gosh, I have too much stuff in my garage because, women can talk about one thing for about 10 seconds. So later that night, I had went home and started thinking about it, and I woke up in the morning after a dream and went, hey, I have an idea.
So you have weekly crafting projects. What type of projects do you do and for whom?
We have done a little bit of everything. We have done dog toys for the Humane Society out of old t-shirts. I'm very big on recycling and reusing what we have. I don't like to spend a lot of money on these things. They are supposed to be things that you can do at home easily and quickly, more importantly, so that it's a little bit easier access, if you will. So we've done dog toys. We have done homemade journals for foster children. We've done stuffed animals. It was an adventure. We all learned to sew that day.
Well, the first time that Jessica and I came, we were making just home sweet home type.
It was actually welcome home kits for Safe Harbor. Safe Harbor houses individuals or homeless individuals in the wintertime by going from church to church. They stay overnight so that they're not sleeping out in the cold because Michigan's so harsh. With all of the new affordable housing being built and all of the new complexes being built, they got a lot. I think they had 22 people moving into housing within a few months.
Wow.
But these people are coming from the streets. They had nothing. So actually Tender Care Birchwood had donated crocheted blankets to us. We had made home sweet home signs. We made dream catchers. We actually did terrariums one week.
Wow.
And we just made an entire laundry basket. NMCAA actually donated finances to help, so they paid for a lot of home goods too. It was really cool. It was really great to see 6 nonprofits all working together for the good of one group. You don't get to see that often.
So how did that come together? How do organizations find Spark? How does Spark decide who they're going to help in any given week?
That's a really good question. It seems like most of the things have just come to me as God-given, I guess. It's
just all falls into place.
I was going to say it all falls into place. I wish that I had a structure, but I don't.
Well, what do you have? What do you put out there? I know I found you through Facebook, but there is a website?
There's no website. It is not up and running yet.
Okay.
So if there's any good web designers out there.
Absolutely. If there are any web designers out who would like to donate their services, you can find her through Spark in the Dark on Facebook or through us, Common Royalty TC, also on Facebook.
Yeah.
I have the domain name. I just have not. Website design is not my strong suit.
Well, and now it will come, as everything does.
That's right.
It has been miraculous, to say the least. It seems like a group of people needs help, and the running joke at this point is that I know about a fire before the firemen do, because so many people are always tagging me in Facebook stuff and I have strangers call me almost every day with something. So yeah. I kind of go with where the need is.
We just showed up out of the blue, and that's your doing. I don't even remember how it started, but who shows up to these Spark events? And they're held at the Salvation Army. That's where you do your project of the week, right?
Yep.
Who shows up, and how do people get involved?
So what I do is through the Spark in the Dark group on Facebook, I actually create events every week so that people know what we're doing and who we're helping. It definitely, I think, helps to get people involved and excited to know that they're passionate about helping animals or helping the homeless, whatever that may be. So I create those events. They get shared all over the place on Facebook. A lot of people will show up because they heard about it from a friend or their mom's there. We've created quite the tight-knit group over the last few months.
Yeah.
We've all become very close. I definitely have my core volunteers, and then we all branch out together as a team.
I actually found you through a different Facebook page, Michigan Nonprofit. Is that the right? Is that
Yep.
your page?
Nope.
That's a wider page that we connected through?
Yep, that is actually a wider group for all nonprofits, which I try to incorporate when I can.
Sure.
That's
Well, what was so cool for me about this whole concept is that part of the thought of volunteering for so many people is so overwhelming. I can't get involved with XYZ because I don't have 5 hours a week or even 5 hours a month. Or I can't make this long-term commitment because I don't know what I'm going to be doing in October.
Right.
I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm going to be doing by Christmas. But Spark is, I have an hour on Friday night, okay, I'll go. And that may or may not be all for some people, right?
And they also don't know what to do. A lot of people I've spoken with don't feel like they have anything to offer, probably because they're tired. Most people are just tired all the time, and they're like, like they have to come up with what to do. And that was also a nice thing about Spark that you do. You show up, you sit at a table, you pick up scissors, and you start cutting something. I mean, for us, it's a family evening that we bring our kids. It is at the Salvation Army, so there are other activities for them. Oftentimes the kids participate in the crafts. Did you organize that, or did that just happen?
having two kids myself, a big part of volunteering, or my deterrence to volunteering, is I can't do anything with a 3-year-old and a 9-year-old. Between the attention span of them and the rules of most nonprofits and the sensitivity when you're dealing with other people, and there's a lot of legalities to it.
Sure.
This way you're helping those groups. You're not actually seeing who you are helping typically. And then in addition to that, it's usually stuff that kids can do. I can't cut a straight line. So if a kid can't
true,
do
I've seen it.
chances are I can't do it, which means that none of us have to do it. I try to make it easy.
Absolutely.
So what happens after the crafts, that time is over on Friday? Because we just go on our merry way and we go home. But I know that after the cleanup and everything gets put in a box, it has to go somewhere. Is that you? Do you personally deliver to whichever organization of the week?
Yep, in most situations, I'm the one that will drop it off. But again, since I have that core group of volunteers, a lot of them like to drop it off. And I have received so many hugs since October that I really like having my volunteers be the ones to go out there and give that away. There was a week where we took Ziploc baggies. And I just wrote a nice note saying, hey, I hope you have a good day. I don't know who you are, but we hope this makes you smile. And then we put chocolate in it and a Spark in the Dark card, or I let them put money in it, whatever they wanted to do. And then we just left them all over town because it's
Oh, that's cool.
That is
it's
so
important.
We just left baggies of chocolate all over Traverse City.
Who doesn't love chocolate? And I mean, some people put money in it and taped it to the car wash or to the gas station post.
Cool.
It was just kind of whatever you wanted to do.
That's a great idea.
But
Now, you mentioned these
so
core
easy.
volunteers, and you have a group, I know them. But also, you guys are so welcoming to new people coming in, because when we came in, you were a name on a computer screen. I didn't know anybody walking in, and not only were we just completely embraced, but you guys ended up working with my husband here to throw me a bridal shower during as a Spark function, and I never dreamed that I could find roots that are so strong and so wonderful. Oh, I'm gonna cry.
I was gonna say, don't make me
It's
cry.
the first time crying on the show. Momentous. I made it an episode and a half.
I'm happy it was me.
Yes, of course it's going to be you. To connect in such profound ways, which I think you do when you're giving of yourself, and to connect with people in that way. It's not like meeting somebody at a yoga class or at a coffee shop where you connect on intellectual levels, but connecting in this profound way where it's part of your character, has formed relationships so quickly for me, and I believe all the other women. So to hear that there are a core group of volunteers, that core group are the people who are able to come every week, but the people who stop in are welcomed with open arms, and speaking from experience, within 5 minutes, and it's always nervous walking into a room full of strangers, but within 5 minutes, you feel like friends and you feel at home. And I just really want to drive that point across, because I know that a lot of people don't try new things because they're new. It's hard to leave the house and try something new and walk into an environment where you don't know anybody. But getting there is all the work. Once you show up, it's effortless to be accepted.
It has been fun to see it. I mean, we threw your bridal shower. I've had half of those women all babysit for each other. Now and you're very right. I think that when you take that many people that are there for the sole purpose of helping other people, 90% of the time you're only going to run into open, welcoming hearts. And as everybody who has ever entered Spark knows, I am a hugger, and you won't leave without a hug probably, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
One of the other things that jumped out, and tell me if you feel the same way, is...
Probably not.
You probably disagree with me again.
All right, kids.
In addition to this, only an hour, if that's all you've got, that's fine. I think the lack of structure, and I don't mean that in a negative way, the lack of structure actually helps and makes it easier to get involved and do what you can do. The fact that a lot of what you do is through Facebook for people in need makes it easier for people to feel like they can help.
Ooh, tell about the tires.
I'll tell you a story about tires.
I'm excited.
Let me tell you.
I don't know if I know this story.
It's through your site.
Oh,
yeah. There was
great things are happening.
I know.
Seriously, so much of it gets lost on me now.
I had 3 sets of 4 tires in the garage.
You had posted that,
and you're thrilled with that. By the way,
I love it.
And simultaneously, someone through Community Action Agency posted that there was a mom out there who needed tires for the van, and that couldn't afford them. Obviously, there was a problem. And so she posted the tire size that they need, and of course I went to the garage and happened to have that exact tire size. So they just came and picked up the tires, and end of story. I mean, it was just that easy.
Easy.
And you do so much like that through Facebook too, about posting what somebody needs, or somebody else will post, we're moving to the area and we've got nothing. Can you anybody have kids' clothes?
Yeah.
And then even on the flip side of that, people who have stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people will post what they had. And tires, 3 sets sitting in your garage, don't probably seem like a big deal. A lot of us have that where it doesn't seem like a big deal when we have an extra couch or we have extra baby clothes. But to that woman, it probably made all of the difference.
Right.
I mean, you made her week, you made her month. Like, you took that and you gave her hope in a time that felt hopeless. And for me, I guess that's kind of what it's all about, is letting people know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot, like you said, that you don't see or that you're not necessarily directly involved with, but just as the casual observer and manager of that Spark Facebook page, any stories that stand out that you were just like, oh yeah, that one worked really well?
There's so many good ones. And it's funny because when I started in October, it was like there was a guinea pig that needed a home. He had diabetes or something. I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently it's a thing. And he got a new home. And so I was like, oh, that's really fun. Like, I helped a guinea pig. Random, but exciting. But every time something happens that stands out to me, because I see so much, it seems like the next one gets better. I'm like, oh, that is the coolest thing that's going to happen. And then something even better happens. Yeah. So I think my favorite two, and I'm not going to use names, obviously, for privacy reasons, but one was a young lady who I worked with her, actually, and she was just a strong worker. She was kind, and she was loving, and she was just a good person. She was a great person. She is a great person, I should say. And she had 2 young kids, and she was getting evicted because bills got behind, and we all know how fast that goes. And she had to be out on like Monday. She didn't know about me. My bosses came to me, asked me to help her, so her and I got to talking. I posted for her on Spark on Friday. And Saturday comes around, no one has helped. She needed $900. And I was heartbroken because at that point I had never had anyone I couldn't help. Things have always magically fallen into place in ways that I don't understand. And so I was brokenhearted, and I was trying to figure out how I was counting my own money. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. Yeah. Until Saturday night comes around, a little bit later than my, oh man, but as soon as I thought it actually. About the time that I gave up, a woman contacted me and went, hey, I've never met you. Her and I had talked back and forth about ways she could help, and she was just waiting for the right one. And she went, hey, I would like to give this woman $500. I went, okay, I won't say no to that. I didn't want the money being exchanged for me. I try to really make things personal. I like when people see who they're helping, I guess. So I met them at my church, which is Kensington, and we met there. These women have never met, none of us. I mean, I'd met her once, and then the other woman not at all. Walks in, gives this woman a hug. I tell her, I explain what's going on, so she's giving you $500. And then she one-ups it, because I thought, that's the coolest thing that's going to happen. Someone gave someone else $500. No, she handed her a blank check. Said, write it for whatever you need it for. Just let me know what it is. Find me on Facebook. We'll connect. Just tell me what you write the check for.
What?
So, I know. So I'm bawling and she's bawling. Everyone is crying on the floor of the church, so that was interesting.
I got goosebumps.
Yeah, seriously, this is incredible.
And I want to meet this friend, too.
Does she have more checks?
She was I don't know, I'll have to ask. And she was just, I mean, it was one of those beautiful, beautiful moments that you don't see very often anymore. And then to top it off, the young woman who had received, she ended up writing the check for, I think, like $1,100. She paid her back every penny over the $5.
Really?
Wow. Again, so you put that much trust into someone, and then they give it right back, and they help. Like, how does that happen? And of course, right when you give up, he's a funny guy.
Yeah.
And then a more recent one, which is not too long ago, a woman had actually posted that she has I think autistic, maybe, I could be wrong on that. She has a young daughter who's nonverbal, who's about 7. She really needed friends. A lot of kids didn't understand her child just because there are probably, I think there's like 30 some comments now. And I think she set up 18 or something, some crazy amount of play dates.
Oh my gosh.
With all of these kids. And now by the end of it, they were talking about doing a big party with everyone. And one woman's like, well, I've got a fenced-in backyard and a trampoline. And it's just.
Watching the feeds grow, like the birthday party.
I was.
One woman didn't, do you remember that one? So she didn't have money to buy presents, I think is where it started. And I got in at the beginning, like right at the top. I'm like, just give her a package of dance lessons. I've done that for years. And I didn't just get one upped, I got like 50 upped. It was, I'm gonna go out and buy all these clothes. No, I'm gonna buy all these toys. Oh, we can have a party. I mean, it just,
she ended up with a whole party, didn't she?
Yeah, and it was just, people love to give. And I think that it becomes so cliche that it makes you feel good to give, that it's so fulfilling, that people don't realize that it's a very real thing. That being fulfilled in that way is a high that stays around longer. Oh, I see goosebumps again. It's just such an overwhelming feeling to make a difference for somebody else, that people just want to. And once you start, you want to do more. And that's what we and I have that in common. That's now a thing, trademark. That we both are like that we want to give, and once we do, then we want more, and we want more. And that's how it's become to you now, starting Spark in the Dark, and me with this shiny hat trying to do the same thing, It's a really cool thing that more people should tap into. And Spark in the Dark is a great way to do it.
It's
a great name.
It's one time. It's like the gateway.
It is. Way to help. You're the gateway drug.
What are you going to do? We all have to have a thing.
It is addictive, for lack of a better term.
It is.
To just get involved and then see it grow and be helpful week after week after week.
Well, then you get to learn. I mean, I've learned a ton of that. If you have Pinterest dreams, I got it. Send them my way, because I have found a way to make. I spend so much time on Pinterest looking at these projects that I would never do. I was like, oh, that's great. I'm going to do that when I have 2 minutes. which
Right.
I never have 2
Right.
minutes.
Right.
So I think that was great too, because people would come to me with, hey, I saw this, I'd really like
Right.
to do this. Okay, great, you're leading the class.
Yeah.
And then I would just kind of let them. I mean, it's fun to be able to craft like that and to try all of these new things. I'm sure no one's bought a dog toy in months.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well, speaking
Tom,
of crafting, the Crafting for a Cause, the Tender Care Birchwood program. Would you tell us about that?
That's a good one too. I tell you what, the things that happen.
Uh-huh.
That's actually called Senior Sparks. And
Senior Sparks, thank you.
We do it once or twice a month over at Tender Care Birchwood, which is on Lafreniere. It is a nursing facility, and I was working there for a brief period and found that a lot of the residents, due to their ailments, whether they are long-term or short, they don't get to go out. It's meeting people every single day is totally normal for us. That's you walk into the grocery store, you say hello, you go to the car wash, you go to the movies. You're always around people for the most part. And being in a facility where you can't leave due to, whatever it may be, you see the same faces over and over and over. And nothing wrong with that. They have wonderful employees and wonderful residents. They have
Wonderful
lovely faces.
Yes.
But it's so important to have that connection with people and to see someone other than your family. So I had started Senior Sparks, and it kind of gave the residents the chance to still help the community. A lot of them used to volunteer. A lot of them used to be out and active. So the volunteers will come in and actually help the residents to do the same thing that we do on Friday nights, because a lot of times our minds and our hands don't work simultaneously after a certain age. So it's helpful to have them there. There's always kids running around. Everyone brings their kids, and the residents love it. In fact, it is a thing now that I have to send pictures after when I have delivered whatever we have made. They insist that I bring back photos.
Oh, that's
because
fantastic.
it's so important.
That is fantastic.
That's, you were there for the dog treats. That was we made dog treats for a lot of their service animals in town here get trained at Birchwood. So I mean, mustaches and kisses and princess crowns in honor of you.
Thank you. That was awesome. And also, the first time I came to Tender Care with you was for the Pen Pal program. Do you still have a hand in that, or did you have a hand in the beginning?
Yep. The Pen Pal program, again, the weird thing is I tried to make my story short for you guys. They're never short. There's so much involved. The Pen Pal program started around right after Christmas time. We had made walker bags, actually, for the residents. And then we they have like the best Santa Claus. Children, cover your ears. After I saw this man, I decided there really was a Santa Claus. Like it was that guy. I don't know his name, but he is definitely Santa Claus. So all of my Spark, we made it a Spark event to go over there with our kids and to meet the real Santa Claus.
Oh, how cool.
That visits Tender Care Birchwood every year. And got to talking again, and the Pen Pal program came up. So many people wanted to get involved with seniors, and it was just something very close to them. Maybe they didn't have grandparents, or their grandparents had passed. They wanted their kids to understand how important that generation is. So that's one thing. I asked for a few pen pals to try it out. I got, I think, 10, and I had 20 residents. I went, all right, guys, I need 10 more. Come on, like, let's step up here. I think there's 30, and now we are, or 30 or 40, and now we are starting a whole nother pen pal program. I think they're going to do it at Tender Care Traverse City, because I have another 30 names on that list of people that want to write to residents.
Oh, wow.
So actually it's branching out more and more.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's very
I've exchanged
fulfilling.
once with my pen pal.
Have you?
Yeah.
And we did the pen pal tea party.
And the tea party was fantastic.
Well, I think it's cool too for families to be a part of that, or like you said, if grandparents have passed on, still have that connection, or if grandparents maybe live in a different state,
right.
for the kids to still see
that generation
and interact and just find some way to be helpful for that. So we are almost out of time, so we have to let Abby tell us all how to find Spark in the Dark, how you can volunteer, how you get involved, what the best way is.
The simplest way is to hop on Facebook, type in Spark in the Dark. You will have a community organization, and then you will also have the group pop up. They are both kind of run one and the same. Community organization is more focused on how you can volunteer outside of Spark, as to where the group is going to be more focused on, again, those individual needs and helping people on a very personal level. From there, you will see all of the events that get posted. I try to give everyone at least 4 days notice. Typically, though, every Friday night at 7, the Salvation Army on Barlow Street. You can always call them, too. They know an awful lot about it at this point.
Right.
If you want to make donations, again, you can always call the Salvation Army, and I'm now actually under their umbrella. They picked me up a few months ago,
Excellent.
so I fall under their women's ministry, Spark in the Dark does.
Wonderful.
So you can do donations, whether that be monetary or clothing or something completely random like guinea pig medication. You got options. Don't hesitate to call, and the more the merrier. The more people that are involved, the more people we can help. So
Even if people will just do it like you and I did with the kids one Friday night, decide we can wait an hour to start our Friday night movie routine.
Yep.
Let's go to Spark first, and it's really fun and easy.
be careful
to
with
get
that.
involved.
The kids come and they don't
They don't want to
leave.
leave.
I know they don't want to leave.
The kids come, and I always laugh. The parents come back week after week. They're like, my kids seriously throw a fit when I don't show up. So here we are.
When is Spark? What night is Spark? Is
Yep.
the-
Are we doing Spark on Friday? Yes.
Yes,
We'll go to
yes, we're
Spark.
going to Spark.
Good. Top of mind awareness for children.
I have to tell you as we close out the show that I pulled in today thinking how great it was that Abby was going to be our first guest, but also that to say that these are ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Already on the first episode, I'm realizing that doesn't apply because you are an extraordinary person doing extraordinary things. So it's cool that we're going to get to share a lot of stories like this.
Way to disprove
in
the
the
whole
weeks
theory
ahead.
of the show, honey. Good
Thank
job.
you. Glad to do that early
We
on.
just got that part.
Do that early
You are
on.
very extraordinary,
Yes.
Abby.
So thanks for coming.
Incredible.
Don't be weird about it. Thanks.
Well, we're wrapping up, so you can start crying, and we'll have another
I'm
guest
not
with us
crying while
next
that
week.
thing's on.
That's right.
I know better. You better fool me.
Thanks for being with us, everybody, and thanks for tuning into the show. Abby, thanks for being here.
And we'll see you next week for our next extraordinary, ordinary person.